All right. Welcome everyone to Agile Coaching Roundtable. First of all, wish you a very happy Makar Sankranti, Pongal, and Bihu to everyone. And I would encourage everyone to be on video so that we can have a open interaction rather than just seeing the initials of people. I mean, whoever can come on video, can we just turn on our video? All right. Topic for today is the effective retrospectives. So there is no such speaking kind of a thing this week. We are just going to have a open discussion and conversation. Whoever would like to contribute to this topic can go ahead and share your ideas and knowledge on retrospectives. And there is no hard and fast rules. We have got good amount of time for discussion today, and I hope maximum participation from expect maximum participation from everyone so that we can get to learn more from everyone. And with that thought, let's get started. Vivek, would you like to start first? Maybe what your thoughts on effective retrospectives?
Sure, Ramya. Thank you. So, yeah, hi everyone. First of all, happy Makar Sankranti to everyone. To start with, the topic for today, retrospective, again, it being one of the major events under the Scrum framework. Whenever as a Scrum Master, as an Agile coach, when we talk about retro sessions or with the team, or for that matter, as part of a Scrum, framework event. It's very important for us to understand, majorly why we are trying, doing that. What altogether the purpose of the event is. As a theory part, we do understand Scrum. The retrospective is a process where we try to get the feedback and we try to introspect what exactly the team has gone through and what challenges they basically get across to. And the whole purpose for that retro is like we try to adapt to things in a way that the working agreement that we had with the team at the start of the sprints, whether we are deviating from that aspect, and how we see in terms of realigning those things towards the goal that we have set across. But as a Scrum Master, as an Agile coach, also, if you observe, like most of us, or as we continue our journey on this agility that we call, you would observe that over a period of time, we it might happen intentionally, or it might not be intentional, that but we try to focus on more from the delivery aspect, rather than focusing on what is the core issue or what is the core problem area. That is where this whole session, this is what we are trying to put across, having more of a effective retro in terms of not the techniques that we use, but rather than focusing on those the empirical process that we talk about, those three empirical process. That is where we are trying to focus our conversation today. And I would like to share my inputs on what are the main area of focus that we tend to look into, and what should be a secondary part of our retro, rather than having it as a primary focus, where we just talk to the team in terms of how the delivery was taken care of, what was the area of things that they delivered in terms of the features, what was the bad thing which impacted them for not achieving that. That again, is something that we need to keep on doing. But then the core issue that we talk about is the transparency, inspection, and the adoption thing that comes under the empirical process. So that is where we need to focus as a scrum master or the change agent, where we need to divert the team, or we need to facilitate the team in such a way that those discussions are taken care of, or we bring up those kind of discussions. So when we talk about transparency, I mean, as a when we set out for certain goal, or when we set out for some sprint goal that needs to be achieved, that sprint goal becomes your part of your product goal, or however it's like no a step towards your product goal. But then how transparency would be helping us out over here in terms of retrospecting towards our sprint goal. Obviously, if as a team, if the team has been working on something, but the product owner was never involved, or as he was never with the team during that sprint journey. He just came back on the last day of the sprint review and expecting something out of the team, saying that okay, we had this sprint goal, we had this commitment, where are we with that? So I mean, that is where the transparency needs to be brought into, saying that if as a product owner, when we talk about, like, the product owner always needs to be with the team in terms of helping them out, or not helping them out in terms of the development. So that is where transfer. I mean, we are working on something, but the product owner is nowhere related, or he's nowhere aware about what the team is working on. Though he has given some, a goal for the team, but then whether that goal is, the team is running towards that goal, or they have been deviated within that 10 days of span. That is where the transparency will help out the team to, align themselves or refocus on the goal. That is where transparency will come into picture, and then obviously the inspection and the adoption as well. So maybe I'll talk more about this, but then if anyone has more points on part of the transparency, how it can help us achieve or get out of the maximum value from the team, we can spend more time on this aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyone who would like to talk about how do they do retrospectives in their own projects, or in their own organization, or any thoughts you would want to add? Maybe better way of doing it. How do you do it? What are the challenges that you face? Maybe we can discuss on all of those.
Hi, Ramya.
Yeah, one quick query. Sorry, someone wants to get started. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. So this is Vijay. Hi, Ramya. Thanks for giving you the
Yeah, Vijay.
opportunity uh, and discussing in the forum. So retrospective is the last event for in the Scrum framework, and in my current organization, uh, we are we are saying that we are following Scrum, but they are not organizing the events properly. So retrospective event, in that event, actually Scrum team only should participate in that event. But what happens in the big organization, different modules, all modules, they combine, and they participate in the retrospective. So what they will do is they will collect the inputs from different teams, and they will put it on a retrospective board, and they will say this is the final board. But whatever inputs from each team will not be represented in that board. That is a bad part which need to be improved in the big organization. So actually, during the release, we as a team faces a lot of issues with the development team and testing team, coordination between the two teams, and during regression, the procurement of the devices and the release of the build will happen, but it is unknown to other teams or testing teams, and they will not give any release notes while giving the build to testing team. and changing status by the tester will not be known by the developer. So there might be process issues, there might be physical devices issues, or there may be issues in the release plan itself, or some changes in the requirement, frequent changes in the requirement, and last minute release of the story to the testing team. So all of these issues need to be addressed in the retrospective, because until unless those actions are not taken place, then we might end up with the same kind of issues in the next release also. And some people will be added in the new joiners, freshers will be there, or even experienced people will be there. They will not be cross trained during the release time, and assignment will be very frequently changed during the day, and more meetings will be handled in a particular day, and more of the documentation work will happen in the project instead of having an agreement of taking few documentation whichever necessary. So and automation team will work parallelly, but we will manual team will not use that automation, or developers will not be online. So lot of issues will happen during a project, during a entire release. So we might work with different teams, different stakeholders, different people within the team. So we may not get a chance to speak up in the daily stand-up call, because some teams will have the daily scrum event will happen only within the testing team or within the development team. They we so all we say that scrum team consists of cross-functional, but individually individually they each team like each development team will form a scrum team and they will organize, but finally everyone has to work on the same product, same sprint goal. We have to work on the same story, but we don't have any interaction. We may end up with silos. So that silos need to be break down. Coordination should be there between each team, and cross-functional uh, training should be happen, and everyone should have equal knowledge, so that if one person goes, we should have a backup, and data sharing should be available. Common data should be across, should be available to team members. So all these points, what are the different issues? All the issues like development, one development team will depend on another development team, but this team will not give any ETA till that time. This team will work on some other thing. By the time uh, that team releases the product, and this team is not able to ready those things, and unit testing document will not be ready, data will not give given in the
Vijay,
like. Yeah.
yeah, so you mentioned like the problems that you're facing in your team, like during retrospective. So these are all the points that you have come up with, right? Maybe your team
Yeah.
had discussed with you, or maybe with each other in the retrospective, and these are the points that team has realized that needs to be addressed, right? So you as
Yeah.
a Scrum Master, how did you resolve this? What do you think should be the reason why they are facing all such things, and how are you resolving these things? So that is what I think you should more focus on. I mean, how now you raised a very interesting point that your teams are working in silo. So when you say that you are working in an agile setup, right? And you say that your team is working in silo, then according to me, there is a fundamental problem. that they are not getting along with each other very well, and they are not having any dialogue or conversation. So that could be the reason why they are not working in a collaborative manner. So that is where a role of a scrum master comes into picture, where typically you have to get into your scrum master's shoes and maybe tell team and make them understand that what is going wrong. You have to set up that, give them that platform so that they can discuss and collaborate with each other. So instead of having that kind of a autocratic way of working, you have to bring in a democratic way of working. So that is what I think is lacking. So not just bringing up points in retrospective, but also we should focus on how are we improving on those points
Action.
from next sprint onwards, or next opportunity. I would not say next sprint, next opportunity. Whenever you are getting into that action next, right? So all these things should be addressed one by one. So that is the role of a scrum master, wherein you should be ensuring that all these things are getting addressed one by one.
Yeah, yeah, correct. So now, in my next project, I am acting as a Scrum Master. So then I will address all the, if I find this issue, definitely I will address those things, because same issue will not be carried forward to the next release.
Exactly.
Should make
Exactly.
the check, and we should resolve those issues what our team
Yeah.
is facing, and we should facilitate that kind of. That is a good opportunity to interact with everyone and address those things. Thank you.
Yeah. I think Vish was contributing something. Yeah, thanks Vijay for the point.
Yeah, thanks, Ramya. Hey, Vijay, thanks for that interesting scenario. All right, me, I have a question rather than my opinion here.
Just
Right.
just a minute. Just a minute. Like just I'm documenting for everyone reference. The question was like earlier regarding the retrospect that was having challenges in his role, right? So the response, can you summarize that what the actual action to be taken in this case?
Yeah. So as a Scrum Master, so whenever we see that there are some people issues or maybe some collaboration issues, right? So we have to come into action, as in first identify why the problem is, right? We know there is a problem, but we have to identify why there is a problem. So if we get to understand why there is a problem, is when we can get to the solution of it. So if you ask me, if team is working in silo and they are not collaborating with each other, means there is no openness between them. And openness is one of the Scrum values, right? So we have to get that openness within the team, and we have to give them the platform. And one of the best ways of getting team open up is through the team building activities. So what we can possibly do is we can have a team building activity. So whenever you go as a scrum master to any particular project or any particular team, right? So to get them open up. So obviously, when you say that you are establishing a relationship between two people, right? It could be any sort of relationship. It could be coach or coachee, or mentor or mentee, or maybe between two friends, or maybe between a leader or a team member also, for that matter. So what we have to do is, there is some common ground on which you are building that relationship, right? So find that common point. That could be one way of opening up people. If that is not possible, the easiest way that I can find is, maybe you can have a team building activity so that everyone participates. And we know that, okay, after our observation, we know that so and so person is not opening up or not talking to so and so person. So make them a part of one team. So what we have to do is plan team building activity in such a way that you have a group activities, right? And put all the people who are not talking to each other into one group. So that way you will give them
I guess we
Ramya,
have lost your.
yeah,
Hello, hello. Am I audible?
yes, Sujit, you are
Yes,
audible.
you
It is
are.
there
I
is a
Yes,
think
network
Sujit.
issue.
some internet
Yeah.
issue at.
Yes,
So
Sujit, you
like
are
so like
audible. So
yeah, yeah.
I
So
guess there is.
continuing the solution, like still the problem persists. Like even though the team building activity or some other mingling activity, whatever we do, but still the problem left. Then do we need to report to the project manager, or like whom to be contacted?
Sujit,
Anyone
Vivek
can
here.
answer.
Yeah.
Hi, Vivek.
Can you guys hear
Very
me?
good.
Yes, yes, we
Yes,
can.
you can.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
are audible.
So yeah. So Sujit, I completely understand your concern over here, saying that okay, you have tried to work around this, where you are, have worked on having a team building activity, or having a one-on-one connect with the team, but you still see the issues on the ground. So as a scrum master, as a coach, the only thing that you can do, and as you mentioned, you should be reporting it to someone. Obviously that won't be of help to you, because then you are not staying with those scrum values that we talk about in the every time, having that openness, that focus, that commitment, the courage, right? So if you are not having that, obviously in this sense you would lose the trust of the team when you are bypassing them and that passing on that information someone external to the team. So that won't help you out over here. Again, as I mentioned, this aspects you need to introspect from yourself. What is the other way, or what is the best way that you can lead this team, or you can try to manage this team in a way that they are opening up, or those issues that you observe as a someone who is observing as from an external point of view and not getting involved into it. So once you get those hints, that is where you need to facilitate them towards those area of concern which they are kind of ignoring, or they are kind of putting it under the carpet. I mean, everyone understands with in the way that they are working, there is some problem that exists, but then no one wants to talk about those problems. So as a scrum master, then we need to come into picture, and then we need to facilitate them towards those area of concern which you have observed. And though over a period of time they will keep on ignoring those issues, because no one wants to talk about negative points, or no one wants to talk about those bad points, which in turns out to be negative. There might be multiple reasons behind it. One of the reasons might be they don't want to have those arguments, or they don't want to have those ugly discussions within the team, because they feel that we are not in a position to do that. So what you need to do is, we as a scrum master, we need to empower the team. When we talk about empowering the team, we need to give them that kind of freedom. We need to give them that kind of support and cushion, where we talk about saying that whatever happens, it is between the team, and then this is where we learn, and then this is where we adopt and move on from here, ensuring that we are progressing towards as a team. It's not that we are trying to bring across some issues pointing towards a single person. It's as a team we are trying to make things work out in a better way. So these are some of the cues, or these are some of the hints that you as a scrum master, as an agile coach, always need to look into. So I
Yeah,
hope I have
many.
answered your question. I know
Excellent. Yeah,
I
that was
haven't.
excellent.
Okay, all right, yeah,
But
thanks.
Vivek, while I understand your points in terms of you suggesting that we have to facilitate, I mean, this is one of the biggest challenges we all face, because people don't want to share what exactly they have, right? We all know, and especially in the professional network, I can't point, mistakes. It's I understand that yes, a team building culture has to come. I understand that yes, you have to facilitate culture of openness, because that's where the Scrum values stand. But then on the reality, uh, uh, I have personally faced that challenge, that every time you give that comfort to Ramya or Vivek or anybody, uh, Prem is still not very comfortable to share that, because he feels internally that this might have some repercussions. Yeah. And in
Yeah.
the space, in the IT services Indian situation, the culture in which I has anybody kind of tried to uplift that? I know that yes, building teams, negotiation, all those things definitely will help, but I am struggling, not just in my current project but in the previous experiences as well, that people don't open up.
I I get you completely, Prem. So
Yeah.
one of the best ways that I have taken, right? So trust me, wherever I worked as a Scrum Master, I was always involved in a team which was new completely, right? I mean, none of them knew each other. Neither me nor the team members, no one knew each other. That was the extreme poles that I have worked with. And currently also I'm working as a agile coach for one particular program. And they are working on, I mean, they come with a background of hardcore waterfall project. They do not understand anything of agile. They don't even understand what is user story, what is epic, and what are all these meetings. For them everything is a connect. Every meeting for them is a connect. So just letting them know what exactly all of these is, and why are we doing so itself is a very big pain for me to make them understand. So, and now I have been associated with this project for almost, this is it would be like fourth month. Trust me, by after 2 months team started opening up. And how, I mean, now they are in a position wherein they even, I mean, I should not use this word, but then it's like they even complain to me about the project managers, right? I mean, they are like, okay, so and so person is not helping me out, or maybe I am looking at for these many options, but then no one is helping me out. I'm stuck with this thing. There would be a risk. There would be a potential escalation. These are the points team members are discussing with me. All I did was I became vulnerable in front of them. I just showed that I am one of them. I never bossed them, or maybe I never told them that no, you have to do this, you have to do that. All I did was let's do it together to get this transformation right. I want all your support. And obviously it's not just by saying these words team would start contributing to you suddenly, right? So it's a habit that you have to cultivate. It's like you have to go that extra mile out of the way when you try to talk to people, right? So what you have to do is you have to always have that one on one connect. That connect is very important. So you should not, you as a scrum master or an agile coach, you should never kind of go and interact with them only during our daily stand-ups or during our whatever review retro, but apart from that as well, what you have to do is whenever you get into a project as a scrum master or an agile coach, try to speak to people one on one, understand their problems. Just try to, I mean, not just for any other purpose, just try to understand what is that they are facing issues on, what is that they want to change. I mean, any random topic, and make a notes in that meeting, and then just go back to them after few weeks or maybe after few days, and then try to check on those points. Where are they still sitting with that problem, or do they have any thought on that? So this is how you have to slowly open up to show them that you are there for them. You are there to support them. Even if they go wrong, that's fine. I mean, you have to still support them as a leader, saying that it's okay, you fail, everyone fails, even I fail, but we have to learn from our mistakes. So that is where our role becomes very important. I think Rohita wants to add something.
Yes, Ramya. So I was listening to what Prem said and as to how the team doesn't really open up and put up front the issues that they're facing or why they're not able to collaborate. I think over here it all boils down to the human aspect, the psychological way of dealing a person, because we always like a person who is in your corner, feels the same as you, and who feels that he or she genuinely wants to hold your hand and take you ahead. Unless that feeling comes up, I don't think, even as a scrum master or an agile coach, even we would want to interact with a person or with a team who would always feel it only as a, okay, this is my role, these are my responsibilities, I'm going to get this done, that's it. When
It's
the
not
human
as mechanical
yeah,
as it should
yeah,
be.
yes, when the human aspect comes in, when you feel that bond that yes, this is the person who I can openly talk with. If they cannot help me, at least they will be there to listen to me. It's all about listening. You may not be the solution provider, because Scrum Masters don't design solutions. I mean, where we don't say, okay, this is how this is to be done. We only, okay, let's try, maybe that try may work out, and we will finally find a solution together. So I think it's more about mentoring and leadership, which are the key core values kind of thing in Scrum and Agile. And rather than being on the managerial side, or, okay, I'm a person of this authority, I can do this, so come to me if you need this. It's not a more
Absolutely.
authoritative figure. So when you can establish yourself in that particular mold, or in that particular platform, or you can portray a picture of yourself in that way, I think only then, like how you said, within 4 months your team started to open up and tell everything, all the issues. So probably you connected with them on that level. I think that is the only way we can, because we're all adults, mature enough to know what to say, what not to say. So if you want somebody to open up, they should really be in your corner.
Exactly, and you covered a very beautiful point over here when you mentioned that we can only try and then work out the solution with our trials, right? So that is where the inspect and adapt comes into picture. The empirical process that Vivek spoke about, that is what it is. I mean, no one knows what works for your team, right? So whatever worked for me, not necessarily that it will work for Rohita, Vivek, Prem, Vish, anyone, or it might work. So you will know only when you try it. So that's how it is. So only with trials you are going to understand whether it is working for you or not. And one more point Rohita has rightly covered is about listening, right? So that is what even quality the agile coach should have. So it's an active listening. So it's not always that one person is going to just, or an agile coach or a scrum master is going to speak and not listen to others. So when you listen, when you empathize, and when you understand their problem, only then you would be in a right mind frame to design or help them find a solution for themselves. Wish you had a question, right? If I'm not wrong.
Uh, yeah, Ramya. Uh, right. Yeah. So when since we are talking about the retro here, all right, an effective retro, we would go back whether we achieved sprint goal, or as Vivek mentioned earlier, that did we kind of deviated from what we wanted to do. On that perspective, just wondering, I'm more curious, is there a practice out there in industry where do we somewhere capture, define, and publish sprint goal formally, or it's more of an like a verbal uh, agreement? Everybody knows, okay, these are the things, this is the feature we're gonna release this sprint.
Okay, Vish. So, I mean, sorry, there was some network issue over here. So, you are looking for some techniques, Vishwanath? That is what your question was?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm outside and it's patchy network here. Yeah, let me uh, put it this way. So, do we anywhere? I mean, is there a practice where we publish sprint goal to the team, or it's more like an
I
verbal
mean,
agreement?
see,
And
okay, so see. these are all, what we talk about: publishing the sprint goals, publishing the retro feedback, publishing, like whatever, these are all ways of working, that your team has adopted. Now, if you go back to your Scrum guide, there is no mention saying that, we need to publish our sprint goals, or we need to publish our retro items, or all those things. These are all, ways of working that we have adopted as a team in terms of the agreement that we have got, saying that, okay, this is how we will take this approach. Now it's up to you or your entire team whether they are comfortable going ahead and doing that, because then over here I see it's an overhead for someone to take up that ownership of, maintaining that sprint goal, and then sharing that sprint goal. Maybe that's one slider, or that's an Excel sheet, or maybe an email draft. That's absolutely. But then if you ask me, if as when I talk from a, coming from a leadership point of view, or someone from external to the team, where they see, okay, I want to look at it, your sprint goal. Obviously, it's very easy for them to make it out when, if they have access to any of the tools that you are using, be Jira, or be it, Azure DevOps, or for that matter, anything, So if he, that person has access to your team's sprint, he will obviously get to know the sprint goal. So there is no need as such to publish your sprint goal. But then again, it's, a way of working that individuals or team have adopted to it. There is no rule as such, and then there is nothing mandated. It's absolutely up to the individual team that you are interacting with.
Okay. Thanks, Vivek. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think Bhanu had a question or maybe a point to.
Yeah, no, I don't have any question, but yeah, just because as we are discussing about the topic of retrospective, how we can make it more effective, right? So let me come back to that point, maybe, so one of the things, or the way how we conduct a retrospect in my team. So to be firstly that I am not a Scrum Master. I don't play that role as a Scrum Master, but however, it's a kind of a product owner, or a designer kind of role. So what initially, what we usually we try to conduct these sessions over the weekends, weekends as in, sorry, at the end of the weekend. So mostly on Fridays, because that's where the time, where people are more relaxed, and they look forward to their having their own time. So, and the very first thing, as you rightly, I mean, somebody pointed out that, right, it's very important that every team member connects with each other. So to have a kind of an icebreaker kind of thing, so we never directly jump to the topic, or start up with the sessions, or whatever the retrospective board or idea board, whatever way you are collating or you are connecting the points, right? So we don't do that. So initially we start up with some kind of a chit chat with everyone, or which actually starts building up a kind of comfortness, or a kind of where the people get settled down, though it takes some time. But yes, because that's, I think that's the best way, or the most ideal way to start any retrospect session, because in that way you get into that mood of it, and then maybe a very casual, and we try to keep it as casual as possible. At the same time, we don't get deviated. So maybe if you have 5-10 minutes of a chit chat about the things that are going, a casual discussion, which acts as an icebreaker. And then probably maybe us kind of, if people are comfortable with each other, and if they are okay with having some kind of games or something, wherein they start bonding with each other at that specific time. Okay. So because that is where, when you involve the team together into some kind of activity, then actually they start speaking up. And this behavior of not speaking or getting to is mostly I have seen in people a person who is a newbie to the team, or he is quite a newly added to the team, and he is quite hesitant about what my opinion, how my opinion would be taken up by the larger audience. Okay. So that kind of activities does really help a lot. Okay. So, and then yeah, after that, yes. And third point, we make sure that retrospective, when we arrange, so it's not like one's man job. So it's like we make sure every sprint the ownership goes to one of the person in the team. So it would be his responsibility to arrange the board. I mean, if there is anything, and if he has to make the groundwork and plan about something, what he can, a game or something. So it doesn't, that the ownership doesn't lies with one person in the team. it goes across the, no matter how senior or how junior or how, I mean, because we do not differentiate it that way. So when you know, maybe that helps, that has really helped us, then taking the people and let the person speak out, and contribute to it. And we have seen a good benefit of it. Yeah, mostly in the freshers. So that's how I just wanted to put that point, Ramya and Vivek and others. Like that's how we try to arrange our retrospect, which eventually does the output job what is meant to be done as part of our retrospective. At the same time, it gives us an opportunity to connect with each other, and and to understand how the other behavioral kind of understanding that gives about your team members. So that's something I just wanted to add on.
Sure. So Bhanu, you brought in a beautiful point over here where you mentioned that you give that opportunity to each one on a rotational basis, wherein they come with any game strategy or plan the retro board and all of that, right? So that is
Yeah.
something I think is a very great idea to kind of get everyone involved in that particular meeting. So I would recommend that in fact to everyone. So you can try that technique, how as in if you feel that someone is not interested or some people are not contributing to your retrospective or not, for that matter, I have seen cases where people are very reluctant to even join. They feel that it's a waste of time. They feel that they have got important things to do, and they feel that instead of wasting my time over here of maybe half an hour or 1 hour, whatever it may be, I would rather concentrate on doing a coding or whatever, designing whatever they are doing, right? So that is what people have a mindset of when we talk about all of this, right? So giving that rotational responsibility of conducting a retro is a great point. And also, I mean, many people rely on retro techniques. So when Vivek already covered that point, so just would like to add on that. What people think is, as a scrum masters or an agile coaches, their focus, whenever the moment we say retro, their focus is on techniques. I know there are many techniques: start, stop, continue, 4 Ls, then what went well, what did not go well, and improvements. Then there is a sailboat technique. So there are many techniques out in the market that will suggest you how to conduct the retro better. What I feel is, whatever works for your team, even if you do not follow any technique, right? If you can still get your team talking, then it's your achievement. I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule that you have to follow a technique to conduct a retro, but these techniques help. I mean, they only enhance or ease your job, right, as a scrum masters. But I would suggest not to fall prey to any techniques that the moment we say retro, that I'm going to just mug up the techniques and I'm going to implement all of that. Just remember that whatever works for your team, whatever gets your team speaking, whatever gets your team to open up and bring in value to the table, you can go ahead and follow that. I think Rohita has a point. Yes, Rohita.
So Ramya, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I was just thinking of a scenario which had happened, because retrospective, when you say, we talk about what went well and what did not go well with the sprint that just got completed. So suppose my user story had some issues, and it, we both are developers or whatever in way we contribute to the sprint. And suppose yours user story went really well. So I have seen that only those folks who had issues during the sprint remain back for the retrospective. It's like then and there you have bifurcated the team, like you did well, you didn't do well. And the ones who didn't have any issues, they leave for the day, and the retrospective usually happens 8 to 10. Usually that is the slot, the last thing for the day. So this person who hasn't, who had some issues with the user story for whatever is the reason, stays back and then they scrutinize like, why, how could we do? So I think the whole idea of that, it's so disappointing. It brings a negative vibe that if you're being sidelined and you're being pinpointed and you're being grouped out. So I think that should not happen. Please keep it at a, at a nice timing, not the last thing of the day that everybody wants to leave. And then there's no point scrutinizing, today my user story worked, tomorrow yours wouldn't work. It can happen to anybody. It's about like, how could we all contribute to that? Like like how did we miss this? Like how can we, because we work as a team and the work I'm sure is interdependent. Like my user story had some dependencies with something else or the QA's dependencies and all. So the approach that we take towards retrospective makes it more bearable than a pain thing to go through with. And the other thing I would like to contribute is sometimes our real life examples are more useful when we try to understand concepts and try to implement them at our work environment. I have a 12-year-old son. Recently, since the winter vacation started, he was introduced to a show called Demon Slayer. It's an anime, Japanese anime show. So I mean, because of the age gap, even though we are all young, but I can't relate to why he likes it. I don't understand it. I don't like the picturization or whatever it is. So I kept telling, like, can you stop watching? Can you stop watching? Get back to work, get back to study. And so over a period of time, I've realized that now he's become cautious about, okay, she's coming, so I change the screen. Or, I change the show. I come back to my chess environment. So it became a haunting experience for him that she's watching, she is coming. So every moment of mine was being noticed, even though he was watching the show. So then I realized that my approach was not right in telling him that he's spending too much time on the anime. So what I did was, once when we went out for a dinner, I told him like, in my age, when I was a child like you, I didn't get to watch all these nice things. So that's why I'm not able to connect to what you're doing. So let me understand the show because I really want to know what it is about, or what is the storyline, what is fascinating about it. Is it more of humor genre, or what is it about? So he started explaining me. Initially, he hesitated a lot. He didn't want. He was like, "Why are you interested in my stuff? You not understand." But still, I insisted, like, "Please tell me because I don't want to be left out. I want to know what you like." Then he started explaining the show. He told me about a few characters. I was still not interested, but I put up a face that, okay, fine. Oh, really? This is how it is. Towards the end, he felt the connection that, okay, she knows what I'm watching. She knows why I'm watching, and she knows why I spend time on it. Now it's like the attitude has changed. Now he's like, Mama, I'm watching this for some time. From a period when he was like, oh, she's watching, I have to change the screen, to a time when he said that it's okay, can I take your permission? So if this can happen between an adult and a child, I'm sure we can do it with our teens as well, right?
Exactly.
Become
So
start showing interest in what they are doing or what issues they're facing, then obviously if he can change, even our teams can also work better.
exactly. So that is what I always relate it to. I mean, it's like when we were all kids, right? I mean, whenever we use a change used to throw at us, it could be any change. That today the menu of lunch has changed or dinner has changed. We used to not crib like saying, "Oh, why you're making this or making that." They used to be very excited. Yeah, what is there for lunch or dinner? So that's what the attitude is. So I mean, if we try to understand or empathize, and also, as you rightly mentioned, take interest in what team is doing, right? So these are all points. And Rohita, when you mentioned that initially you used to not understand, and later on you just opened up to him, saying that no, I want to also learn, I want to also know, right? This is where the vulnerability comes into picture. You're not, so for kids it's like parents means that they are very headstrong and they are like they cannot bend, they are not open to new ideas, they cannot learn from others. That is what they think about, right? So now you're being vulnerable when you say that, okay, I don't know, I want to learn, I want to also, I did not get that exposure during my time, now I want to learn. So here you're becoming vulnerable. That is where he thought it's an opportunity for him to maybe pitch in and maybe help you out, right? So that is where the common link you have established. So that's what I was saying when I said it as a vulnerability. So it vulnerability is something which will, I mean, open up many doors of relationship, be it anyone, not only just with teams, even in your personal life as well.
Yeah, being vulnerable is a good thing, I think. We always see it as a taboo. Okay, oh, you don't know this, or oh, you didn't see this, oh, it didn't work for you, oh, you had issues. That's okay. We all have faced that scenario, and we all go through those things every time. But when you see yourself vulnerable, you get connected and you become one among them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sujit, you had a question?
No, thanks for the wonderful conversation. That is much inspiring.
Your voice is breaking, Sujit. Not sure if it's for everyone.
And it goes. Okay, if it's that's fine, Ramya, can I talk a bit more?
Sure, sure.
Yes. Yeah. So as Rohita just talked about connecting, right? So one of the thing, which we may try as or how we can replicate it in our professional life. So I just tried it with one of my not tried actually, but I usually have this habit of whenever if I know if you are okay with so one of my team member, he has just recently joined us. Okay, so he is just a college pass out. So maybe so obviously for obvious reasons they will have that hesitant to getting comfortable with themselves and with the team and all those things. So I try to communicate with them rather than using English as a mode of communication. I try to speak in our native language, because when you start doing that, right, so they get into a comfortable space with you. So because I have seen this behavior where people are not very good at communications, and then they most of the times they are very good at their thought process and everything, but then just because they could not put it into words or bit for some reasons or some hesitation, they don't speak up because they feel that maybe I may not be putting the right words or something, or because of the communication barriers. So I see that, okay, yeah, of course we all are into IT, so we are, I mean, it's to some extent it is expected that our communications should be good, and English being a common communication language between everywhere. But if you are quite aware that the person if you are speaking to, I mean, if you know that language, and if that suits you, I think that's do a kind of magic between you, and that sets a kind of a connection between your team members. And then they start talking to you, and then can express you in a more better way and a more coherent way. So that's something where we can try up with connecting with our team members when you are having a individual one-on-one conversations.
Yeah, again, a point of a human touch, right? So not just
Yes.
not just becoming very mechanical or very technical with your team, just having an open conversation. So we don't obviously prefer speaking with somebody close to us with any other language, right? So we speak in a language where in which we are comfortable with each other. So again, so that's a point of a personal touch, obviously, and even I do that, yeah, with my team members. So if someone is not doing it already, I think that is also a good recommendation that you should sometimes you should speak in the local language. That really helps. I mean, that is tried and tested, I must say. So it really works.
Yeah, I have a thought quickly. All right, can I?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thanks. I feel kind of it's a tricky role what we are playing. We have to lead without authority, and that too without the technical expertise what developers and the team may be having. So that puts us in we are already vulnerable, to put that way, right? One, two, forget about I can understand the new joiners, but in my scenario there are a few super senior folks, who are into like architect level, and for them it's they're geeks, right? They breathe, they eat, everything is coding. For them, anything, uh, you know, if it's not coding, anything beyond coding is waste of time, right?
Yeah.
And and we are kind of seen as HR, right? Coming up with multiple interventions, though we call these are super productive frameworks for the results to happen, to be more productive. I mean, that's why all these multinationals are investing money in the Scrum roles, Agile roles, because they know, they have seen the outcomes. But when it comes to the geeks, it's like we are kind of disturbance to them, right?
Yeah.
But again, I like the idea where we have to apply. It's like again the human connect, applied psychology. I believe we'll have to continue without really getting too much caring of what the other guys feel. Right? There are some frameworks, of course. We will need to make connections, build that rapport, play those mind games, and all that stuff. But I honestly feel no matter what we do, to what extent we do, right, there would be a certain section of people who would always be not wanting us.
So, Vishwanath, what I would like to just put across over here is I completely understand what you mean, and you would always find one or the other person in your team who is like that, right? I mean, they are like, for them, any non-technical person is a fool. So that is what they think. So if
Exactly. Yeah.
what I mean, I have seen people, I mean, they're telling me on the face that if we don't if someone doesn't match our intellectual level, we don't even try to strike a conversation with them. I mean, that's literally shook me. I mean, how can someone even think about that, right? So it's not that non-technical people are brainless, right? So that is where I feel lack of awareness, right? So that's where exactly where you as a scrum master or an agile coach have to train them, or when I say train them, give them some understanding, or maybe conduct a session on a scrum framework, roles of scrum framework, or maybe on the agile mindset, right? So that will at least make them understand what ground you are on, right? Once you have set that laid that foundation by explaining them or making them understand what your role is, why we are doing and what we are doing, is when they will start thinking, okay, I mean, this person holds an important role in our entire ecosystem, right? And you rightly mentioned that people kind of compare us with HRs, and many people would say what HR does, they just do rangolis. That is what people feel, right? And we make fun of them saying that what they do, they don't have any work, they just do rangolis and organize events. That is what they think. But we know how important HRs are. So unless and until we make them understand the importance of our roles and what value we are bringing to the table, they will not kind of let you inside their circle. So you have to break that circle. And I know I mean, it is not right on my part to put that, but let me tell you, we have to take out all our inhibitions, right? Take out all our hesitance, and we have to become shameless. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I do resonate with your, say, Ramya. And just to add on, all right, yeah, of course, after all this, I believe, whenever people are aware of a bit authority, HRs, yeah, as the way you put, they just don't put Rangoli. They are the one who would do everything, start from your hire to fire that so I believe there would be few scenarios where we should make them feel right. Yeah, we can serve you both carrots and sticks based on the
Yeah,
parameters results, right?
So initially that is required. So when team does not understand, right? So that is where you have to be that strict and make them follow something, put it in form of rules or whatever, and then be little bit lenient. The way parents are, right? It's kind of a parenting, right? Initially when
True,
you're
true.
kid, they just put restrictions on you, they impose all sort of things on you, right? But after at a level where you understand them during your teenage is when they become friends to you. So that is, so think or map exactly it to be a parenting role.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, again, parent-child authority relation, there is again authority. No matter how friendly we are to the kids, they know very well at some subconsciously, okay, this guy, okay, he pretends to be a very cool friend of mine, but he has the
Don't
power
take
and
it that
authority to, right, can, take my pocket money back or ground me for days, or he can snatch my mobile, right? So yeah, certainly that I understand.
all right, I think we are 6 minutes past already. Any last thoughts from anyone? And if you ask me, this was very productive session wherein
Let it go.
literally we got to learn a lot. I mean, there are new things that even we have learned, and I hope everyone has learned at least something. Even if this session would have contributed to even a droplet kind of a knowledge base into your entire ocean of your agile journey, then this is like I feel that this would be this is a successful event.
Definitely, Ramya. I think from your end and towards and the way the crowd contributed, it was a very knowledgeable and valuable session. For the upcoming session, if you guys have something in plan, please address the issue of bringing agile for startups as in real startups, because I find that to be very challenging.
Ramya, I have one question, if you don't mind. Yeah, it's audible. My voice is audible to you people.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, yeah. See, I'm Shankar, and basically I'm working for the education sector. Okay, right now I'm
Vivek, you
grooming
wanted
students.
to add something.
Ramya, we lost you in between. Are you able to hear us?
Ramya, your mic is in mute, I think so. Okay, shall I continue, Vivek? It's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, please, go ahead.
As I told you, I'm working for the education sector. I'm grooming students for this Agile and Scrum framework for their project development and other things now. There's a one question from my side. Do we want to wait till the sprint is getting over for the retrospective, or interim we can have retrospectives also? Because I see somewhere the scope is getting deviated or some little bit of technical snacks are happening on. So can we have the retrospective in between also?
So ideally, no. Retrospect always comes at the end, because like once we deliver the increment, that brings the value that what went well and where we can improve. See, the ultimate goal of this
I
retrospect
got it. Yeah,
is
I got
that
it.
like how can you improve further? Learn from the mistake, add
Yeah.
it, improve.
Got it.
So
The reason why I
ideally,
asked
the
is,
retrospect should never. Yeah, sorry.
please don't mind. The reason why I asked it, because I don't want to wait till a full sprint. The damage is getting more. In that situation, how we can make it out?
No, see, we do have our daily scrum for the purpose of the tracking and to see the any challenges. If any challenges that comes in between, immediate that your product owner believes he's the authored person who can intermittent be who can join and he can either dissolve or either stop or something he can do with the total sprint. But this sprint retrospect should never be call for it during the sprint. No, it is at the end.
the reason why I experienced this for daily stand-up, we had around 1 week of time. The things were going okay, because in daily stand-up things will not be totally going up also, because the product owner will not check everything every day what goes on. Maybe in 1 week of time there is some little bit of a technical snag has happened, and
Scrum Master should update, right? Scrum Master should update him daily that what was the progress.
okay.
Ideally, that is the like basic ethics that a Scrum Master should possess.
Mhm.
What is the progress by the team? Ideally, team is updating. However,
Okay.
a Scrum Master can play the role, and he can track like whether the sprint is going on time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
the product owner be confident on the Scrum Master that he is doing his job with honesty. I mean
Mhm.
that the sprint is on track.
So you mean to say practically the Scrum Master has everyday interaction with product owner on this area, or both of them just have a looks on the electronic board?
No need of like physical or over the call or something interaction. But however, the reporting and emails communication that may be that may take place, or sometimes any mode of communication, like what the status, what the progress. Anyway, the team is updating. However, because the Jira or whatever the tool that
Yeah.
you are following
Yeah.
for the for this management of the task.
Mhm.
So product owner or any of the stakeholder can check anytime. But yes, the real time situation or challenges, the Scrum Master can update.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
The like the crux is that retrospect should always call after sprint. Like at the end, I'm sorry, at the end.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So in between, you can have some other intermediate meetings. We don't call it as
So
retrospective.
that is
That is
called as
Scrum.
refinement. So
Refinement.
that's a refinement. That you may refine that whether the task is taking some longer than expected or something. So you may put some task on some backlog and all. So that refinement you can discuss, but retrospect like that the after your increment delivery. Since you have done the task, then only you can
Got it. Got it.
you can judge, or you can be accountable that whether task was going with quality or on time and all. The KPI parameter that we say, the
Yeah.
effectiveness.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, dear.
Thanks, Sujit, for that input. I guess, I mean, today's session was quite interactive. I mean, that was the whole purpose of getting out this, I mean, the whole purpose of, the core issue or the core purpose of a retro session, not focusing on only the techniques, but actually focusing on what the core problems are. So I hope this was, again, from the learning point of view, it was good for everyone. And I mean, whatever you guys intended to, if we have tried to address it or not. But however, in case if there is something else that you guys want to discuss or wanted to put across, but you did not get an opportunity, maybe you can just send out a message to us, me or Ramya, or anyone in the group. People are now have become more active now on WhatsApp group. They can definitely try to answer your queries, and that is how the learning should continue to. So I hope this journey will continue. We can meet up next week again with some new topic. And for today, I guess we can close this call, and we can again regroup next Friday.
Thanks, Vivek and Ramya. So,
Thanks.
just to add on a closing note, we started initially with few members. It is just a retrospective of what we are currently doing. And initially, we faced issues with tools, techniques, and all. But now, with after 3, 4, 5 sessions,
Yeah,
everybody has started collaborating, discussing. Conversation
absolutely,
is taking
absolutely.
place. So, we are actually, I feel that we are moving in the right direction, and hope we will continue the same, and we'll have
Yeah, that's a very good observation, Yogesh. Thanks for bringing up that. I know, even now we are facing with some technical issues, but yeah, we are trying to manage it, trying to make it more interactive, trying to be
yes.
specific to the topic, so that everyone learns and also parallelly shares their experience overall. That is all the whole purpose of having this. So thanks for bringing out those points, Yogesh.
Yes.
Great,
Okay.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Vishwanath,
Sorry.
anything that
One.
you wanted to
Yeah.
add? Yeah.
Just one idea. I want to
Hmm.
share so that since it's
Yeah.
fresh on my mind. Right. The open sessions are great. Perhaps just it's a question to the team, to everyone, right? Is it a good idea if at all we invite, say, one of the developers who hates Scrum and Agile to the core sometime? And
Yeah, that would be that would be
right.
that would be a good idea. I mean, I'm not sure if any developer would be really wanting to spend his entire 1 hour over here. Again, he would come with the same mindset. Why would I spend my 1 hour
That's a
on
good
this
question.
discussion when I don't want to be part of the Scrum team? So I'm
Yeah,
not sure if
that,
yeah, but yeah, that's a good input. I mean, we can think on that. It can be definitely useful for everyone.
Certainly. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks a ton.
Okay, all right.
thanks, Ramya and
So
Vivek. That was wonderful session. Thank you, dear.
thank you, Sujit. Thanks everyone for joining again, and then we can regroup next Friday. Thanks for your time. Have a good day and a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Take care, everyone. Bye for now.